There's a re-emergence of an abolished endemic, an abhorrent crime against humanity, human slavery. Driven by an evil-inspired compulsion, the deep state seeks to enslave the whole world and turn men for whom Christ died into the ultimate toy. A slave is a person who is held in servitude as the property of another person and whose labor, and often also whose body and life, is subject to the owner's volition and control. Slavery is a loss of personal freedom and rights of any individual to another. The earliest evidences of slavery uncovered in human history date back to over 4,000 years ago, where men, women, and children were taken as personal properties of other human beings who were regarded as slave masters.
The question is how? Why did such things happen? It's still a mystery to many. They're still trying to understand why, how. Why was man's inhumanity to man so terrible? Why did it ever happen? It's been going on for long. Do you know when slavery started? It wasn't when they took people from Africa. No. In Europe, there was slavery already. There's been slavery a long time before they came to Africa. There were slaves in Assyria. There were slaves in Egypt. There have been slaves for a long, long time. Even in the Roman Empire, they kept slaves. People that look like them. I'm talking about those that didn't look like them. Those who look like them were made slaves.
Slaves were auctioned as goods and commodities, put in zoos for sightseeing, forced to live in abject servitude, and were subjected to the most gruesome, inhumane treatment ever served to mankind, with every strand of their human dignity completely stripped off to the last piece.
These are the voices of former slaves, victims of one of the greatest crimes against humanity. Listening to them speak and hearing their lamentations does a different level of justice than history books ever could.
Been slaves all our lives. My mother was a slave, my sister was a slave, father was a slave. We were slaves. We belonged to people. They sell us like they sell horses and cows and hogs and all like that. Have an auction bench and they put you up on the bench and beat on you the same as you're bidding on cattle, you know.
Between 1941 and 1945, one of the greatest tragedies of human history was recorded, where the most dehumanizing treatment were meted out to Jews who had been enslaved by the Nazi. And within this period of time, over 6 million Jews were mercilessly killed. In 2020, the world witnessed yet another form of enslavement, but this time on a global scale, where the nations were captured and their citizens enslaved by the deep state. A fake pandemic was unleashed on the world, and the perpetrators, who projected themselves as self-acclaimed saviors, presented a solution packaged into vials and labeled them as vaccines. But were these vaccines really an immunization against the COVID virus?
For the world at large, normalcy only returns when we've largely vaccinated the entire global population.
Well, the bottom line here is that vaccination is our best route to freedom and independence. Vaccination is our best route to freedom and independence.
Ridiculous. They said only vaccinations will bring you freedom and independence. You thought you were free. You thought you had independence. Now they're telling you your independence has been taken away, your freedom has been taken away. If you're ever going to be free again and independent, it's only by vaccination. Are you getting it now? Now you understand what's in their minds. the lockdowns were a sort of imprisonment. Make no mistakes about it. To think otherwise is to deceive yourself. You just heard it from the former director of the CDC. That's the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. So when you are vaccinated, it's not about the COVID-19. It's not about it. It's not about vaccination, as it were. No. Will the vaccine stop you from being infected by COVID? They say no, it will not.
I doubt seriously that any vaccine will ever be 100% protected.
No. You can get COVID after getting vaccinated.
Then why being vaccinated? If you had it, will the vaccine stop you from infecting other people? They say no.
We are seeing that the ability of individuals who are infected through breakthrough infections, namely vaccinated people who ultimately get infected, that they are generally without symptoms or minimally symptomatic. However, it is clear that they are capable of transmitting the infection to uninfected individuals.
What is this nonsense? No one has been able to guarantee that the vaccines will work. Then why the deception? Why not tell the people the truth? They can't tell the people the truth because there's no truth in them.
With these vaccines, the perpetrators of the pandemic, who were human hosts of demons, set themselves up as lords over humanity, with a sinister agenda to enslave not just the human body, but to shackle the human soul.
I told you about these vaccines that are coming out. These are terrible vaccines. I told you that these are mRNA vaccines. And I told you that this would make your DNA editable, which means when your DNA sequence is edited, your personality will be changed. This is what these particular vaccines can do. They'll make your DNA editable. Your personality can be altered without your consent. Remember, without your consent. It opens you up for someone to be able to do that to you.
First of all, this vaccine will be using a modified RNA or modified DNA in the vaccine. So why is this important? It's important to know because it could potentially alter our DNA, our genome. And what's the big deal about DNA or RNA? Well, our genome. Well, the genome is what makes us human and what separates us from the rest of the animals and plants in the world. It's the blueprint for what creates us, how we reproduce, how we function, how we repair, how we evolve. So one little change, one little protein inserted, one taken out, one changed, can actually create a congenital defect or a hereditary disorder. So a little change is grand. So something that can alter that could really be devastating on us humans.
I told you before, it was a gene therapy for gene manipulation. That's what it is. It's not a vaccine, it's a gene therapy. It's for manipulating the genes.
What you're doing is programming cells, like somebody would program software.
DNA is the software of life. There's no question about it. And that's key to evolution of life on this planet. And now the key to the future of life on this planet is understanding how to write that software.
But aren't you playing God?
We're not playing anything. We're understanding the rules of life.
But that's more than studying life. That's changing life.
Well, domesticating animals was changing life. Domesticating corn. When you do crossbreeding of plants, You're doing this blind experiment where you're just mixing DNA of different types of cells and just seeing what comes out of it.
The news is buzzing out of Lund University, Malmö, Sweden. Marcus Alden is the first author. The first demonstration in a human hepatic or liver cell line that the Pfizer vaccine, in fact, reverse transcribes and installs DNA into the human genome.
Wow. And so, in simple terms, what does that mean, Dr. Bartlett?
Thank you for making it simple. So, basically, there's an enzyme that can take that messenger RNA vaccine information and put it into the DNA of the person, into their DNA. And we were told that could not happen. So this is in a lab, but it's showing that you remember the vaccine is messenger RNA.
Yeah.
And we were told that that messenger RNA could not go into your DNA, but this is showing that in a lab it can.
Like human slavery, this is a crime against humanity.
But why are they excited about it, those who are behind it? Because it's about to give them their dream for life. The ultimate toy. Make human beings the ultimate toy.
A toy refers to a plaything or a diminutive version of a bigger object which can be used for amusement or enjoyment and is ultimately subject to the whims and emotions of its owner. In light of this, it is therefore safe to say that not only will the vaccinated become toys, it imperatively means that to be vaccinated is to be shackled and rendered a ready slave, fit for the brutal control of the ultimate slave master.
With this series of vaccinations, they will introduce the substances that they want to introduce into the human body so they can control your finances as they're controlling your health and control your life.
The resonant frequency of the DNA is what they use to fine-tune the technology to take total control of your entire body, spirit, soul, being, and mind. It's total not only mind control, it's total human being control. And it is the essential element that allows them to manipulate your emotions so totally and completely, to manipulate your thoughts so totally and completely, to manipulate everything you do and see and hear and think and feel every single minute of every single day, so totally and completely.
To be vaccinated, therefore, implies that the vaccinated would be forced into a life of utter surveillance and servitude with no autonomy over their bodies, minds, thoughts, and actions. Their existence would be completely controlled.
Because sometimes some people say, well, I don't mind being surveilled. If I'm not doing something wrong, I don't care who knows where I am.
We need not just to monitor people, we need to monitor what's happening under their skin. What we have seen so far, it's corporations and governments collecting data about where we go, who we meet, what movies we watch. The next phase is the surveillance going under our skin. We're now seeing mass surveillance systems.
Surveillance under your skin. They want to know what's good. So, I was right. That's the reason for the vaccination, because that's the only way they get it under your skin. That's what I told you. You know, surveillance is just one little part of it. But that's the small part of it. The other part of it you don't know, and I want to tell you now, is from then, once the software is introduced into your body and things are kicked on, I want to tell you exactly what's going to happen. Your life will have an expiry date. Believe me. From then on, you'll have an expiry date.
Do not take this vaccine. This vaccine is dangerous. This pandemic is a fraud.
I think it's time to react. Time to stand up for your freedom, for the future of your children. Don't give in to anxiety, to polarization, to governmental control, and to restriction of your freedom, all under the false pretext of a virus, because that's what's happening.
See to it then that no one enslaves you by means of the wordless deceit of human wisdom, which comes from the teachings handed down by human beings and from the ruined spirits of the universe, and not from Christ.
There's a segment of one of the programs we had that I want to show you in furtherance to what you just saw from Season 3, Phase 6, Day 1. Just a few minutes. Watch it. What they want is total control, but the control is not enough. A change of your personality to the new man, the new person they want to create. They're going to substantially change your life. Believe this. I'm going to show you. Look at this. This article was posted in 2018. Look at it. June 28, 2018. That's when it was posted. Now, what's here? Let me start reading and see how far I can take you. But I'll tell you what's in it. The National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, that is Dr. Fauci's group, has launched efforts to create a vaccine. This is as of 2018 that this news was posted. Has launched efforts to create a vaccine that will protect people from most flu strains all at once with a single shot. Over the years, now the writer of this article says, over the years I've written many articles refuting claims that vaccines are safe and effective. So he says, but we'll put all that aside for the moment and follow the bouncing ball. Now, let's scroll up a little bit. Good. Here is a sentence from an NIAID, that's that Fauci's organization, press release, that mentions one of several research approaches. Listen to this. The NIAID Vaccine Research Center scientists have initiated phase 1, phase half, 1/2, studies of a universal flu vaccine strategy that includes, this is interesting, that includes an investigational DNA. This is from the Dr. Fauci's organization when they released it in 2018. Here's what it says. This vaccine strategy includes an investigational DNA-based vaccine called a DNA prime. Are you following this? It refers to what the experts are touting as the next generation of immunizations. Instead of injecting a piece of a virus into a person in order to stimulate the immune system, synthesized genes will be shot into the body. This isn't traditional vaccine or vaccination anymore. It's gene therapy. This was 2018. Now, here's a quote from New York Times, 3/15/15. That means 2015. Protection without a vaccine. It describes the frontier of research, the use of synthetic genes to protect against disease. The use of synthetic genes. Interesting. While changing the genetic makeup of humans, they're going to use synthetic genes for the protection against disease while changing the genetic makeup of humans. And then it goes on to say, this is not science fiction. They're telling you it's real. Now, here's the bottom line. It says, by delivering synthetic genes into the muscles of the experimental monkeys, the scientists are essentially re-engineering the animals to resist disease. The sky's the limit, they say. The first human trial, let me leave that and come down here. The viruses invade human cells with their DNA payloads, and the synthetic gene is incorporated into the recipient's own DNA. If all goes well, the new genes instruct the cells to begin manufacturing powerful antibodies. Look at that again. The syntactic gene is incorporated into the recipient's own DNA. That is a permanent alteration of the human DNA. And that is a permanent change to your personality. This was 2018. 2018. They boasted about it. What they are denying now, they boasted about it then. But now, because we're saying, hey, here's what you're doing, they say it's not true, it's not true, it's not true. But it's true. It's true, and that's the plan.